So this is the video for Outlook 2010. I've made a video for Outlook 2007, and they've made a major change the way it looks. At least the ideas and the concepts are the same, but a lot of the buttons have been moved around. So I've decided to make a new set of videos talking about all the features that you can use for Outlook, and prepare yourself to take a test, or also to tell a potential employer that you know Outlook 2010 if you've been used to Outlook 2007 or never used it. Now the best way to get used to Outlook is by using it at home. If you have Outlook 2010, you can configure it at home to set it up to use it with your Gmail, Yahoo, or Microsoft accounts. And if you had your own business email that you have your own domain, you can even use it to set it up. Now to do that, you need to get information about it, and just to show you what you can do is I just went into Google and I did a search for setting up Outlook 2010 with Gmail. Or you can go into your Gmail help, and here they'll give you information like how do you want to set it up. The first thing you may have to decide is whether you want to use what's called the IMAP, or do you want to use the POP. POP is the older protocol, and what it does is when you use it, it downloads all your emails right away with attachments and everything to your computer, and but any changes you make will not be showing up in your other computers. So say for example you had Outlook on two different computers, or you were checking your mail on the computer and also on your smartphone. With POP you'll have to read the email in both places so that the computer will recognize that this email has been read. With IMAP, it is what will be considered a two-way synchronization. So if I was checking my messages from 3 to 4 different devices or computers, and if I was using IMAP, then when I check it in one place, all the other places will know that you already read that message. And also if you update any folders, you move some email messages from one place to the other, they all will be updated, so you do not have to keep on checking the email. So that's where you need to decide, and when you click on it, Gmail will give you instructions of how to go about it step by step. So you need to do, in most email accounts you'll have to turn it on first, either the POP or IMAP, and then in Gmail help here I'll just click Outlook and they'll give me all the instructions about how to go about it. Same thing with Yahoo. I did a search on Yahoo, and there are different links you can read at. And with Outlook Hotmail, for Hotmail, you can actually download a connector called Outlook Hotmail Connector. So if you do a Google search for Outlook 2010 Hotmail Connector, you will find this link, and this will help you make it very easy to set it up. You just have to provide the email address and the password, and you can either download this or download the 64-bit if only you have the 64-bit version of Outlook 2010. So I've just started Outlook, and I'm going to use one of my test email accounts that I have. So the first thing up here, it's asking me to set it up, so I'll just start typing my name, my email address that I've created just for this purpose, and my password. Now at this point, like for Gmail or even for Yahoo, you could try to hit next and see if Outlook would configure itself. Sometimes it may, but usually you'll have to hit manually configure and then click next. And now I need to choose that this is a internet email. People in companies, they use what's called Exchange Server, where they have more functionality. So I'm just going to choose the first one, click next. Now here I need to provide them with information that I get from my email service provider. You'll have to check with yours. So what I'm typing here is, the first thing I'm typing is the incoming mail server. That is, I need to tell it where am I going to get my new emails from, and the outgoing is where is it going to go out to. So when I send an email, where should it go? Sometimes it's different, sometimes it's the same. So you might want to check into it. And the username is usually your email address. Now you need to type the right things here, otherwise it will not work. And you can hit the test account settings usually, but usually you'll have to add some more settings. So I'm going to click more, and I know that I've looked into my account service provider, and I know I need to put a check mark here, because even if one check mark's not right, certain things may not work. And I can go to advanced, and I can change this number to 587, and you can choose this if you want it a secure connection, and you can check with your company about it. And what I want to say is that I want to leave a copy of the message on the server, and I want to say don't remove the copy, because I'm using the POP setting. I'm using POP. You could use IMAP if you wanted, but I'm using POP, and I'll say only remove it from the server when I delete it from this computer, so only then. So this way I'll have an extra copy of my emails there too, and also on my computer. I can click OK, and I'm gonna click next, and it's doing a test right now, and hopefully both check marks came, so I'm good to go. Click OK, and I can click finish. And you can add other accounts, but you can even do this later. So I'll hit finish. Outlook opens, and it's asking me, do you want to add a Hotmail account, because I think it's got the connector. I'll just say no to it right now. Just gonna make this window small and adjust it to the width. And you'll find that as soon as it connected, you see I've had sent 3 test messages. They all showed up, and you see when it is like that with the envelope closed, it means I haven't read it. When I click on it, now it is read, and I click away. Now all my emails have been read. So Outlook is generally used in companies to actually get your emails and to do contacts, create contacts, to create calendar appointments, and we'll try to talk about all of those things. But before we go, let's just talk about some of the ways you can look at the Outlook screen, and also some options associated with it. Now, if I wanted to add some more emails account, I can click on File, and I can click on Account Settings, and then click on Account Settings, and then I can click on New. So I already have one, and I can keep on adding more. So when I click New, it will ask me the same question. Is there an email? I click next, and now I need to start filling up the information and the same question. So then I will be able to get all my different emails into one place. So if I had 3 different email accounts, they all could come in one place. I can even go to File, and there is the Add Account option. So usually Outlook will show up in Inbox, but sometimes it might even show up when I click here. It will show my calendars up here, the tasks, and messages, and we'll look at all of these things in the next few videos. I can come back to Inbox. Now in the Inbox, I can see that here are my messages, and on the right hand side I can see the pane. So if I wanted to make changes to it, I can go to the View tab. So if you've used Office 2007, you'll find that in 2010 they have the ribbon system. So there's Home, Send, Receive, they are known as tabs, and within the tabs we have ribbons. So in the view, I can say that, you know what, let's look at the reading pane on the bottom. So now my message will be read on the bottom. I can even choose to have the navigation bar off, which is this thing on the left hand side. So if I click off, it's completely off. I can have it minimized, so it's kind of hiding there, and it comes back up. Or I can just have it normal, which is what I like, so I can see all my folders. There's also an option called to-do bar, which is this list on the right hand side with the calendars and everything. I can choose to have it off, or minimized, or normal. So you can view things in different way. Now when you have your messages here, you can choose to view the messages by people from, so it will put things in alphabetical order by the from section. You can also do it by date, which is the default, and you can always click here too to make the changes. And you can search. You just start typing something in here, and it will start to do a search for all the messages with that word in it. So under View, you get all these options where you can make changes to it to customize the view of it. I'll just come back to the Home. And in the Home, you'll find all the options which are mostly associated with emails and moving email messages and replying to them. So you've got the New Email Message button. You can also click here and you can create new appointments or contacts. We'll be talking about that. I can delete an email. I can set a email message to a junk, so I can block that person's email address so it will automatically go to the junk folder next time that message shows up, so Outlook will keep learning. Right from this message, if I click on it, I can hit reply, so it will put that person's email address in the reply section and the message shows up on the bottom. I can even double click on a message. I can read more about it, and now I can hit reply from here, or I can forward the message to someone else. There is the reply all option, but I'm very careful. A lot of people can get into trouble when you hit reply all by mistake, and you can reply to a bunch of people that you are not planning to. So you have the forward button from here too. And there are some more things here which we'll look at slowly as we go forward. And I can always hit delete to remove something. Now let's look at some option settings. So if I go to File, there is an option. Now in 2007, you had the tools and then you went to options. So here they moved it to a new place. I can go to options. Now whenever you get certain questions which has something to do with the options, this is where you'll come to make changes which will affect the whole Outlook look, not just a few things. It will affect it in the whole way. Now in here in the general, you can always put a check mark here, so that will make Outlook your default email program. So when you go on the internet and you click on an email address, it will automatically launch your new composed message in Outlook. So that's the benefit of doing this. If I go to mail, I can choose to compose my messages in HTML or plain text. If you choose plain text, then you cannot do formatting like bold and things like that. I can also put a check mark here to say that always check the spelling before you send a message, so it will do an automatic check. Now right here also I can create a signature, so I'll go ahead and do it now. Click signature and I'll click new, and I can type a name, test, click OK, and now I can type something here. And you'll see I have some different kinds that I have created, and here you can make whatever changes you want to it. I can even put a hyperlink there if I wanted, like put my website, just to make sure I can add the hyperlink button to it. So it will have that. You can also insert pictures of some whatever you wanted. And if I'll be able to resize, I find that sometimes I cannot. I'll just delete it for now. But you can insert whatever symbols. You know, you had a certification, so you can put a logo of it or whatever you wanted to add. Now I can choose my new messages. Say my new messages should have this test, and when I hit reply, I want it to be main, or I can even choose it at none. So there are different things you can choose, and you can even change this later. So I'll click OK. So my signatures are set. You can also affect the fonts and the look of your email. So if you click to this button here, you can also use the themes option, where you see when I click on one, you'll see that these colors will start to show up. So if I click on any one of these, they have different colors and different fonts, and these will become part of my composed message. If I use this, I click OK, and just to show you, I'm going to click OK again, and then OK, and I'm going to come to new email, and you see there it is, and there's my signature. And I can even change the signature from here to the main. So you see changes, or the default one. I don't need to save it. If I say yes to it, it will put it in the draft, so I can go back to edit it. I'll come back to File, Options, Mail, and we just talked about stationery and fonts. And you can customize the reading panes if you wanted to. And I'm just going to scroll down to see if there are any other settings. Desktop alert settings, like whenever you set a reminder, say I put a calendar appointment, I'll get a reminder from Outlook 10-15 minutes before. So if I click on desktop alert settings, I can choose how transparent this should be. So if I click preview and look on the right hand corner, you see this alert came up. So that's the 20% transparent. If I click on it to say 80%, it won't be visible much, and I click preview, you see it's kind of very light. I have to point to it to read it. So you can choose to have that. And also how long should the alert stay when you have an alert. You want it 7 seconds or longer or shorter. In the replies and forward, you can choose that when you reply to a message, whether to include the original message or not. Do you want to add it as an attachment? Do not include the original message. So you can choose this by default. And also when you forward a message, what should you do with that? Okay, under tracking, there is an option that for all messages sent, you can request a delivery receipt. That means you'll get a confirmation saying that the email has reached the other person's email server. You can also by default say that every time my email goes out, they should have a read receipt, so that as soon as the person reads it, they will get an option to send you a receipt saying that, okay, I read your email. I'll even show you when you do this in the Compose, there is an option. But this way, this will be automatically applied to all your emails. And you can also set that for any messages that you receive which has the read receipt, do you want to be asked each time, or do you want to send it automatically, or never send it? So ask each time. You'll get a message pop up saying, okay, by default this is what happens for most people, and you get to choose whether you want to send that or not. And we'll come maybe later if there were some more things to talk about it. And also in the option, I'm going to go to calendar. Now here you can set your work times and hours. If this was like a work setting and you were working say Monday to Saturday for example, or you were working only 4 days and you were working 8 to 6 4 days a week, so you can change the timings here. You can also add holidays. So if I click on the add holidays and I choose United States, and I can even scroll up and I can say, let's see, Canada, and if you're in India you can choose India, and I click OK. Now it's adding all the holidays from those countries to my calendar, so that I'll see that in my calendar. And you'll find there are lots of other display options, like the fonts you want to use in your calendar. You can also change your timing so that you can set the time location that you are in. And I'll come to the contacts. In the contacts, what I like to do is, how do you want to file as? Sometimes by default before it was last and first, but I like to prefer that it should be first and last, because I usually type the people's first name. Click OK. So whenever you make changes, you have to click OK. And maybe one more thing, customize ribbon here. This customize ribbon option is very good, because the tabs that I have, like home, send, receive, I can create my own tabs. So I can click on new tab and it creates one. I click it, I can rename it, and I can call it my tab. I click OK. Now within each tab I can create new groups, and I can rename this. I can call it my group 1. Now in this I can start adding buttons. So say I want the print button to go to this, I'm just dragging it to it. I want the new email button going in there. I want the new contact going in there. I want a new appointment. And you can do this for all Microsoft Office 2010, Word, Excel. Everybody has this. 2007 didn't have this. So I can take any of this, say new contact, I can rename it, and I can put a symbol on it if I wanted. So I can look for a symbol, click OK, and you can even export this to another computer. And you can keep on adding new, and within this tab I can add new groups. So I click OK to this. Now you see there is my tab with the important buttons that I want. So which is under File, Options, Customize Ribbon, and I can even click on the My tab and I can even move it higher so it will be the first one that is visible there. And if you don't want it, just remove the check mark and it won't be visible to you if you don't want it. Click OK, and there it is, and there's the new contact. So this is good because you can put all your important buttons here which are in different places, and you will have it in one place, and you can do this for everything. The next button I want to tell you about is this button, which is Send Receive. That means check right now for my emails, and it will try to do that every 10-15 minutes, but you can force it to do this if you wanted to. Now if you wanted to make changes to your send receive timings, where do you think we have to go? As I was telling you, that when it comes to the questions, you can start wondering about it, like, oh, this has to be an option. So you can go to File, Options, and now we just need to figure out where it might be, and you can go through this and maybe in Advanced. Now right away as I'm scrolling down, I'm looking for some numbers somewhere because it should say 15 or 30 or something like that. So I'm trying to scroll down and it should be up here somewhere. There it is, Send Receive. Click it, and here it is on the bottom. Schedule an automatic send receive every 30 minutes, and you can force it to every 15 minutes if you wanted. I can close it and I can click OK. Now I can even customize these buttons here, which are called Quick Access, which is the same for all Microsoft Office programs from 2007 onwards. I click here and I can say, you know what, let's add some more buttons. Let's add the print button. So I can click a print button right away. Let's add I want to add the new email or thing, so I can go to More Commands and I can look for new email. I can add it. I can even add a new contact. I can also add a new appointment. And if you don't find the button that you are looking for, you just click here, choose all, and then just go through the list. Click OK, and there are my buttons. So that's it for this video. In the next video we'll talk about how to create messages, creating contacts, creating appointments and tasks, and how to work with it. Thank you for watching. Your computer, and but any changes you make will not be showing up in your other computers. So say for example you had Outlook on 2 different computers, or you were checking your mail on the computer and also on your smartphone. With POP you'll have to read the email in both places so that the computer will recognize that this email has been read. With IMAP, it is what will be considered a two-way synchronization. So if I was checking my messages from 3 to 4 different devices or computers, and if I was using IMAP, then when I check it in one place, all the other places will know that you already read that message. And also if you update any folders, you move some. If you do a Google search for Outlook 2010 Hotmail connector, you will find this link, and this will help you make it very easy to set it up. You just have to provide the email address and the password, and you can either download this or download the 64-bit if only you have the 64-bit version of Outlook 2010. So I've just started Outlook and I'm going to use one of my test email accounts that I have. So the first thing up here, it's asking me to set it up, so I'll just start typing my name, my email address that I've created just for this purpose, and my password. Now so this is the video for Outlook 2010. I've made a video for Outlook 2007, and they've made a major change the way it looks. At least the ideas and the concepts are the same, but a lot of the buttons have been moved around. So I've decided to make a new set of videos talking about all the features that you can use for Outlook, and prepare yourself to take a test, or also to tell a potential employer that you know Outlook 2010 if you've been used to Outlook 2007 or never used it. Now, the best way to get used to Outlook is by using it at home. If you have Outlook 2010, you can configure it at home to set it up to use it with your email messages from one place to the other. They all will be updated, so you do not have to keep on checking the email. So that's where you need to decide, and when you click on it, Gmail will give you instructions of how to go about it step by step. So you need to do, in most email accounts, you'll have to turn it on first, either the POP or IMAP, and then in Gmail help here, I'll just click Outlook and they'll give me all the instructions about how to go about it. Same thing with Yahoo. I did a search on Yahoo, and there are different links you can read at. And with Outlook Hotmail, for Hotmail, you can actually download a connector called Outlook Hotmail Connector. So Gmail, Yahoo, or Microsoft accounts. And if you had your own business email that you have your own domain, you can even use it to set it up. Now, to do that, you need to get information about it. And just to show you what you can do is, I just went into Google and I did a search for setting up Outlook 2010 with Gmail. Or you can go into your Gmail help, and here they'll give you information like how do you want to set it up. The first thing you may have to decide is whether you want to use what's called the IMAP, or do you want to use the POP. POP is the older protocol, and what it does is, when you use it, it downloads all your emails right away with attachments and everything to